1971. We woke up in a different world, where the Cold War ended along with the Vietnam carnage. All because of the Dome. The Dome. A territory full of anomalous artifacts, phenomena, and organisms. We still don't know what it is. An alien city? Some kind of a testing ground or storage? Whatever it is, no living thing trapped under the Dome can escape it. Yet even this did not stop the research. The major powers created the CRONUS Corporation to develop and explore the Dome. Its secrets became a lucrative business. The Spire's station was built on top of the Dome to export the artifacts and import supplies and personnel. The city of Crystal Sands grew at the foot of the Dome, eventually becoming a major transportation hub. All this required thousands of employees, and there was no shortage of candidates. Romantics, pragmatists, and adventurers of all trades swarmed recruiting centers around the globe, seeking jobs at CRONUS. You were one of those people. In 1976, your application was approved, and you went under the Dome towards the future. Whether a good one or a bad one, only time will tell. The badge on the orange's chest reads, Quentin Bisley, laborer. He eyes your black uniform and quickly turns away. A guy wearing thick spectacles thrusts out a sweaty hand.
Monty James, Silverwing.
He glances down at your badge.
Ah, it's you. I found your file extremely interesting, and your CV, wonderful. Inspiring, really. When I had the opportunity to look over the files of my future colleagues, I couldn't resist. I don't want to sound boastful, but silver level clearance has its advantages.
Monty winks. Monty makes a ring with his thumb and forefinger.
You were number 63,784 on the waiting list, but you were lucky enough to get into the dome after only 16 months. Besides that, zero, nada, absolutely nothing. You're a dark horse for both the Foundation and myself. How exactly did you end up in this wing?
Though he responds with a chuckle, it's clear your answer made him uncomfortable.
You know, I've heard the forefathers left behind countless automated, high-tech defense systems. You must be real intrepid if you look forward to fighting those things.
An uncomfortable silence rises between you, and Monty abruptly changes the subject. He taps the narrow illuminator panel with one finger.
Look, there's a storm rising. The lightning is strange. Green. Should lightning be green? This is my first sandstorm.
A tall woman is watching an ad playing on the monitor, arms crossed. The polished to a shine badge on her black overalls reads, Elsa Olafson, Security Service. She glances at you and offers her hand in a businesslike manner.
Greetings. Please take all necessary precautions. By that I mean, don't turn your back on him.
Elsa nods at the orange.
I just follow orders. Even if his crime was embezzlement, I have to keep him cuffed. Those are the rules.
Olafson shrugs in a sharp, mechanical way, as if racking the slide of an assault rifle.
Our friends from the administration didn't deign to inform me about this man's record. Could be I'm escorting a serial killer. It's corporate policy, you know.
She gives the silver a vengeful look. A man with a mustache and a blue jumpsuit is standing at the window, studying the construction site below through the occasional break in the clouds. His badge reads Igor Patan, planner. The blue taps on the glass with one finger and gestures you to come and take a look. Seems like he doesn't speak English. A young, dark-haired woman is staring through the illuminator, her gaze glued to the slowly approaching desert. She's whispering softly.
We've crossed the border. No way back now.
She turns to you. The shiny badge on her white jumpsuit reads, Tomoko Kimura, physiologist. As the woman takes in your black uniform, her smile fades.
There are 6 people in this capsule, 2 of them in black jumpsuits. Not a statistically significant sample, but the trend is evident.
She says with a squint. Kimura shakes her head disapprovingly and turns back to the illuminator.
This place is a scientific treasure trove, and you're treading all over it in your jack boots, blowing up doors that are thousands of years old, acting like you own this world. What devilment.
Kimura isn't impressed.
Protecting us from the dome, really. And who's going to protect the dome from you?
Stopping by the door's porthole, you watch as the ground slowly approaches. It looks brown-black through the tinted glass, and smoky blue at the horizon. It almost seems like the clouds are pulling apart there. You peer into the rusty clouds of dust blowing along a dirt road leading south. The southern sector. Every black winger has heard the whispers about Operation Simoom, a major offensive under preparation since the early days of development of the dome. CRONUS is recruiting troops capable of capturing the southern territory, an area heavily guarded by the forefathers' defense systems. Maybe you yourself will end up in one of those troops. Just as you're about to move away from the window, you notice a whirlwind beginning to form above the ochre plain. The gathering storm drifts unhurriedly above the desert, a crown of green lightning flashing at its core. Clearly no ordinary weather phenomenon. It must be one of those anomalies. You freeze by the window, unable to avert your gaze. The outlines of the landing site, blurred by clouds of dust, appear behind the greenish glass of the porthole. The capsule shudders as the braking devices engage.
Come here. Come on now, or you'll miss everything.
A cheerful man in a white lab coat grabs you by the sleeve. A badge reading Ludovico Nuzzi, scientific analyst, export department, dangles loosely on his clean uniform, which still smells pungently of washing powder.
Look over there.
He points upward with a sharp, wide gesture and hands you his field binoculars. You raise the binoculars to your eyes. Under fourfold magnification, the whirling cloud above the rust-colored plains looks even stranger. Its core glows with flickering green light and flashes rhythmically, and that rhythm seems to form a complicated pattern. Nuzzi bends close to your ear.
Fascinating. Do you want me to bring some filters? If we intercept the red and blue spectrums, we'll see something amazing. It's like a signal, some kind of message. I don't know.
Ludovico laughs unnervingly and snatches the binoculars from your hands. With the binoculars raised to his eyes, he minutely adjusts the focus.
It's a massive whirlwind north of Concord, and not merely some desert sandstorm. That's an anomaly. I hope it lasts long enough for me to make a proper observation.
The scientist looks blankly at you, then down at his lab coat.
Ah, this? This?
He lets out a blaring laugh. Ludovico points at the building behind him.
I work in Concord Station, categorizing relics. My job is to classify them by rarity. Then the blues package them, silvers issue the documentation, and oranges move them to the cargo capsule. Just like the one you arrived in.
Nuzzi points upward.
Then the capsule takes the relics way up there, all the way to the spire, then to Crystal Sands by the funicular. They get auctioned off and turned into money. It's not like I endorse this, but we all like ourselves a good paycheck, right?
He offers you his binoculars once again.
Do you want to have a look at the spire? It's amazing. But then, you can look at the spire anytime. Now that sandstorm, that's what's truly amazing.
Nuzzi looks from you to the capsule and to the landing terminal entrance. He flings his arms up.
Oh, mi scusi. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. You'd better get going or you'll be late for check-in. Your colleagues are already inside, and the storm is growing stronger. Yeah, the storm is growing stronger.
The White mutters in fascination, eyes glued to his binoculars, which is fixed on the spinning whirl of clouds.
How can I help? It was nice chatting.
Howdy. It was nice chatting.
Greetings, newcomer. Come over here and register, please.
A tall receptionist watches you from behind his desk with a bored, haughty look. He waves impatiently at you to approach. The employee glances at you indifferently. His upper lip is ever so slightly curled in contempt.
All new employees must register first thing. Come up to the desk, please.
The nameplate on the desk tells you you're talking with Dean Rayhet, administrator. The administrator slaps himself on the forehead.
Ah, I almost forgot the regulation pre-registration greeting. Just a second.
Rayhet produces a reel-to-reel tape recorder from beneath the desk, rewinds the tape to the beginning, and presses play. The speakers explode with a harsh, crackling sound, over which the tick-tick of a metronome slowly grows louder. Solemn music begins to play, and the administrator's face takes on a serious expression.
Dear employee, on behalf of the CRONUS Foundation, I, Administrator Dean Rayhet, welcome you to your new life under the dome.
The administrator clears his throat and continues.
By joining our company, you choose the path of science and progress. You are among mankind's best, and we ask that you live up to this.
Dean squints down at the monitor.
Deserve this title. Do your job honestly. Obey the law. Respect your colleagues and...
The music fades, and the administrator finishes his speech.
And together we will build the best possible future for all mankind.
Dean puts the tape recorder away.
Now that we're done with the official greeting, I'll register you and upgrade your Selectron. Okay?
Dean's hands hover over the keyboard. He gives you a nod. The administrator squints at the paper in his outstretched hand before setting it next to the keyboard and entering the information into the database. Rayhet scans the computer screen.
So your position in the waiting list was 63,784. You've been assigned to Magellan Station. A special bus will bring you there after a series of briefings. Please pass me your Selectron so I can update the firmware.
Dean snaps the docking port of your pass to a recess in the casing of his computer. The administrator returns your Selectron.
Here you are. You now have first-level clearance. As a Blackwing employee, you get access to the barracks, the armory, surveillance rooms, remand centers, and other specialized facilities.
Dean continues.
All new employees have a short list of tasks to perform on arrival. Do you want to hear all the details, or just the short version?
Rayhet snorts.
To make it short, get your uniform from storage, your weapons from the armory, pass the Psi abilities test, and complete your weapons training at the training zone. Then learn how to use the scanner, avoid anomalies, and properly catalog anything you observe. Last, go to the waiting room and wait for the bus to Magellan.
Dean sits back in his armchair.
That's it. I hope there aren't any questions.
Rayhet claps his hands in satisfaction.
Great.
He reaches for the tape recorder, but thinks better of it.
Protocol calls for a little welcoming preamble, but dash it all, that's nonsense. Welcome to Concord Station.
As he's about to turn away, Dean suddenly remembers something.
Oh yes, I sent your mail to your Kairos. Check your new messages. Well, that's all, I think.
Honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
But that was only the beginning. Around the aperture at the top of the dome, a transition station.
Behind the storage counter, you see a small, neat guy. His gingery hair shines with something like brilliantine. His badge says, Sidney Maynard, storage. The silver finally stops and pins down a particular page with his finger.
This is your first uniform requisition, right? You can also purchase any equipment you need for the desert directly from me.
Maynard adjusts his glasses in a businesslike manner.
And before I give you the uniform, please listen to these short instructions.
Sidney fiddles with his hairstyle.
So, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Life under the dome can be dangerous. You may get shot, spill acid on yourself, get electrocuted, or suffer the effects of a dangerous anomaly. You may also freeze to death or get fried. That's why it's important to wear protective equipment when traveling outdoors. Of course, in hazardous situations, the equipment will get damaged, and the more it's damaged, the more often one has to repair it.
The silver steps back from his counter to indicate the repair kit boxes piled in the back of the warehouse. He points back at the shelves behind him.
We've got repair kits for this gear. There are Blue Wing specialists ready to help you at any large base, of course, but they're not always available, so you'd better learn how to use repair kits and workbenches on your own. It's a useful skill.
Sidney rests the logbook on the desk.
That's all the instructions. Now, I'm going to issue your uniform.
The silver disappears into the back for a while and returns with a small package. Unfolding the package, Maynard shows you a brand spanking new uniform.
Standard issue Blackwing equipment, trousers, boots, jacket. Everything is stain resistant and armored. Bear in mind, this gear is made from all natural materials. Oh, CRONUS takes care of its employees.
He says with a bit of swagger. He raises a finger.
One more important thing. In accordance with Order 16-225, helmets and gloves are not issued, but they're available for purchase from me. Please bear in mind that a full set includes headgear or a mask, jacket, trousers, gloves, and boots.
Sidney hands you the package.
Here's your uniform. Enjoy.
Sidney adjusts his glasses.
Sure, I'll show you what we've got. You know, we're pretty well stocked here in Concord. Take a look.
Sidney scribbles something in his logbook.
Please come back anytime if you need something.
I'm all ears.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit. Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
I hope to see you again soon.
Anything urgent, Mr. Krachkov?
Katarzyna, did you mark it as Class 1 again, instead of 2? Look, here's the scanner data. It says the relic is a scientific device.
Wait, but it's still Class 1. I'm not going to violate protocol.
Katarzyna, my dear, you may violate protocol as long as it benefits the company. Take your lead from your colleagues. Correct your report if you have to, and don't act so innocent.
Vladimir, I'm done. How do we mark it?
Class 2 fragile. Tell Noyan the relic should go out with today's flight. Think about it. A Class 2 relic will mean a bigger payoff for the company, and that means a bonus in your wages. Categorizing it as Class 2 means access to state-sealed bids. I bet the Brits will buy it. They're always trying to one-up us.
All right, Mr. Krashkov. I'll correct my report.
Carl, add sealed bids to the marking.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be...
I'll complain to the Silvers about that.
An engineer in a bright blue jacket is tinkering with the door lock, cursing under his breath non-stop. Blowing a curly strand of hair off his forehead, he turns to you.
You're a newcomer, right? It's a straight-up open house here today.
He offers you his hand. According to his badge, this is Maxim Penkovsky, technician. The technician slaps the door with one hand.
You have to wait until I'm done. Some orange jammed up the lock with chewing gum just for a laugh. They're like animals, those oranges, marking their territory. If you ask me, they're too gracious about those bastards in Crystal Sands.
Penkovsky chuckles.
Looks like you don't get it. Tons of relics pass through Concord. The base is laid out to make everyone walk a single route, with the top level as separate as possible from the bottom. You get the memo?
He turns back to the lock.
So in the meantime, take a load off. Have a coffee. Loosen up. Watch the storm through the window. You'll be seeing a lot of those out here.
Maxime extracts a thin, sharp, precision probe from behind his ear and dangles it in front of you.
Though there's another way. You want to learn something about picking locks? It's a useful skill in all sorts of situations.
He looks at you expectantly. The blue's getting excited.
All right, looky here.
Penkovsky presses his pick lock, and an odd device resembling a hybrid of a screwdriver and a can opener into your hand.
Using a mechanical pick lock is easy peasy. No special skill required. They wear out after a few locks. While the old-fashioned kind is another thing entirely. Cheap, one use. But one has to know how to use it right. That's a tool for a master.
Maxime takes out another pick lock and crouches by the door. He gives you a quick lesson on how to pick a lock.
By the way, you can carry your tools in your belt. It's much handier to have them right there.
Penkovsky shows you his utility belt, where he keeps all kinds of tools and gadgets.
Actually, finding tools under the dome is no problem at all. There are even devices for hacking terminals and so on.
Maxime hoists up his belt. The blue solemnly raises his index finger.
And one more thing. Always use brand name stuff if you can. Groovy produces good kits. Modus and Supercolor do too. They've all got fat contracts with CRONUS, so they care about quality.
He looks at the door again.
Damn these locks. Though I'd rather be doing this than fixing hab pods. Those are a real pain in the ass.
Penkovsky gives you a patronizing look.
Because they're poorly made. Warp from the heat, and the filters aren't worth a damn. The modules were constructed by marketing managers, not engineers. Building a city in the desert was also their idea. This project is all about PR. CRONUS wants to show the world how tough they are.
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place.
The smell of good tobacco wafts off this tall, portly woman from a meter away. A black lacquered pipe, an open logbook full of signatures, and a metal flip calendar sit on the counter in front of her. A small nameplate reads, Margarita Tkachenko. The woman fixes her coppery hair with one hand and casually lights her pipe.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Her voice is deep and gravelly. Margarita thumbs back a couple of pages in her logbook.
I see. This was your first receipt.
She glances at her Kairos, looks at you, snorts, and retreats to the shelves. Tkachenko returns in a few minutes holding a large gun.
You like big toys?
She presents the weapon in her outstretched hands.
Take this and sign here. There are more fun things in store, but they're not for everyone. You see?
After racking the slide, Tkachenko points the gun at the ceiling.
High firing rate and good accuracy, even in burst fire mode. Enjoy. Just don't point it at me.
The black hands you the weapon. Margarita drags on her pipe and releases a puff of thick, yellow smoke.
I see you know the rules and won't cause problems.
Tokachenko pushes a plug of tobacco around the bowl of her pipe.
The safety's on the other side of the world. It's awkward to shoot from around a corner. Also doesn't shoot too well from the left shoulder. Other than that, it's a decent machine gun.
The black points at a poster on the wall behind her.
Can you see what's written there? Clean and oil. I have nothing to add.
The armorer shrugs, puffing indifferently on her pipe.
It's the least I could do. We have a requisition list from the Silvers. For free, you receive only rubbish. If you want the real deal, check out the weaponry shop. Or me.
Leaning over the counter, the black points somewhere off to one side.
Now it's time for your training. Fatherby is already waiting for you by the big gate. He's a bit dotty, but a good man nonetheless. But before the training zone, go see that wizard guy with his toothpicks. Be careful around him, though. Don't let him pitch you a line. Psychic my ass.
She winces in disgust.
I repeat, get a lockpick and attach it to your utility belt. And then, apply it to the door. Yes.
A lean Silver with thick black hair and a huge cigar clamped in his teeth is sitting in front of you. As you approach, he flashes a sly grin and slowly raises an outstretched hand above the table. Something really weird happens. All the paper clips, pencils, scattered toothpicks, and bits of trash float up from the table and hang in the air. The silver badge reading Andrei Mihai, Science Instructor, floats up as well. The Silver trills with laughter. He approves of your reaction. The objects fall back to the tabletop with a light clatter.
Here for the briefing, huh? Shall we get to it?
He takes the cigar out of his mouth and exhales a lush cloud of smoke. The Silver props his elbows on the table.
Anyway, here's the deal. It's more profitable for people with a high psyche to study psionics. Give me your hand.
Not waiting for an answer, he grabs your hand with strong, dark fingers. Andrei gropes your hand briefly, then lets go, disappointed.
The pills, huh? The anti-migraine, sleeping pills, neuroleptics, downers. What do you mean you don't take them? Well, off you go then. That means no talent, huh? Why waste time? No wasting time now. But alas, regulations demand it, so I'll give you a glove too. Regulations, huh?
The Silver takes a thin glove covered in talc from his desk and passes it to you.
Look, a glove, right? But it isn't just a glove. This is an ooh mama hold me tight glove. It takes energy from your noggin, your psyche, and pew concentrates it.
He counts off on his fingers.
Learn psionics. Put on the glove. Transform energy into the necessary shape. That's the whole briefing. Simple? Simple. Now to your questions, huh?
It doesn't take the psychic long to think of something. A small 2-com bond coin jumps up from the table and an invisible force folds it in half. The ruined coin drops into a glass already almost full of coins in the same state. The Silver takes a pull at his cigar and releases a self-important puff of smoke.
Psionics. It's a gift for all of us. The forefathers took off someplace. Poof, gone. Only the dome remains. And this. Psionics, huh?
He rocks back in his armchair, puffing on his cigar. The toothpicks again slowly rise up from the table. Mihai spreads his dark hands. Toothpicks hover around his head in a kind of halo.
Scientists say everyone has an organic skill called psyche. You have it, I have it, everyone has it, huh? Big psyche? You got talents. Small psyche? No talents. You'll need to carry a lighter all your life.
Get a lockpick and attach it to your utility belt. And then, apply it to the door. Yes, apply is the proper word.
Maynard puts his glasses on again.
You again? Pretty sure you got your uniform already. Anything else I can do for you?
The silver assumes a serious expression.
There's nothing I can do about that. It's a result of the recent cost optimization order. Luckily, you can purchase these items from me. At market price, but...
Sidney scribbles something in his logbook.
Please come back anytime if you need something.
Forgot something? It was nice chatting.
I'm listening.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
It was nice chatting.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
I'm listening.
Hi there. I hope to see you again soon.
The giant display glows welcomingly when you approach. A red light comes on under the screen's steel hood. The camera is switched on. A gray old man with high cheekbones appears and squints out at you from the screen.
Do you copy?
He leans close to the camera, his glasses glittering.
My name is Martin Kingsley. I'm Chief Officer of Magellan Base. We were supposed to meet in person, but unforeseen circumstances prevented that. One moment. I'll grab your file.
He reaches for something out of view and produces a thin folder with your name on the cover. Apparently, your file. Kingsley opens the folder to thumb through the pages. He marks one of the pages with a pencil.
Why did you choose Blackwing? There are other divisions in the corporation you could have worked in.
Kingsley's waiting for your answer. Martin gives you a long, probing look.
Hearing an answer like that, I'd prefer to send you away from the dome. If I could, of course. Please try to keep your destructive nature under control.
Kingsley closes the file and folds his hands in front of him.
Thank you for your reply. I learned a little more about you. Now I want you to learn a little bit more about us. Keep in mind, this is not a rehearsed speech.
He assumes a serious expression.
When the dome was discovered in 1971, it became a scientific and media sensation, a worldwide phenomenon, and likely the most significant discovery in the history of mankind.
Kingsley drums his fingers on the unseen desk, his gaze focused somewhere beyond.
I see. You were enticed here by radio advertising, telefilms, and all those interviews, billboards at every turn. CRONUS wants the world to see the dome as a stage where something merry and fascinating is going on. But now that you're actually here, I want you to see the real picture.
You can't make out his eyes behind the glare on his spectacles, but he seems to be staring directly at you.
Here's the truth. Nobody was waiting for us inside the dome. It's neither a treasury of technologies nor a cemetery of the ancients. Perhaps what we're doing now is defusing the world's most complicated bomb. Will our mission thrive? I believe so. If we work together and everybody does their part.
He looks back at your file.
I say, do what must be done. Because that's what the concept of the 5 wings is all about.
Kingsley points at the camera.
You're from Blackwing. Your duties are simple and straightforward. But you have to understand, everything you do is to maintain order and peace. Once people panic, they kill each other much quicker than the dome ever would.
Putting the folder aside, he sits back and stares at you in silence. It gets so quiet that the ticking of a clock can be heard through the speakers. Kingsley sighs quietly.
You were probably waiting for some boilerplate welcome speech. But I prefer to talk about real-world problems. Glad to meet you.
Martin nods slowly.
I apologize once again for this long-distance meeting. Now, as we don't have much time, I'd like to get to the point. I'm sure you're curious why you were taking off the bus to Magellan and brought here instead.
He moves closer to the camera.
I'm going to show you a short video. Please pay attention.
Kingsley's face freezes on screen.
I have an urgent mission for an employee of your background and qualifications. I'd have assigned someone from Magellan, but I'm short on personnel. That's why it has to be a newcomer. I apologize again for the rush, but it seems I have no choice.
Martin noisily clears his throat.
Maybe you've heard about Nashville Base. While preparing the materials for this mission, I came across a short documentary film about the complex. I think you should watch it.
The speakers produce a hollow click. Purple, gray, and black spots flicker on the screen. A blurred title, The CRONUS Archive 1971 to 1974, was used in the production of this recording, appears at the bottom. The shadow of an airplane flies across a faded yellow desert. A cheery voice fills the room. Every day, our researchers uncover more and more of the dome's secrets. There is no doubt the underground structures, so-called objects, are organized according to some pattern. Though early on, the importance of the relics to scientific research was considered insignificant. The desert dims into the black of a chalkboard. White lines drawn by an invisible hand begin to sketch a schematic of the dome. The narrator continues. By 1972, however, many important discoveries had come to light in a period of only a few months, and the construction of stationary research bases adjacent to the more promising objects began. Personnel moved into Ankara in May of 1972, and within half a year, Boston and Dessau were also brought into service, though the biggest discovery was yet to come. The picture changes to a chasm suffused with electric light, people bustling about everywhere. The speaker's voice seems to come from a distance. In November of 1973, a massive network of underground caves and a structure of hitherto unseen complexity was discovered in Sector C-12. Soon afterwards, the construction of C-12 Nashville began. The camera glides through dim caverns as the silhouettes of bizarre mechanisms emerge. Metal structures loom up from the dark, surrounded by earth-moving machines and exhausted miners wearing orange jumpsuits. The speaker continues. C-12 Nashville is an innovative research complex located atop the primary relic mining location. The complexity of this object is unique. Communications. The film abruptly cuts out, and Kingsley's face reappears.
The rest of this information is classified. Hopefully you get the main idea. Nashville is a very special place, requiring people with both special qualifications and special clearance level, though yours will do for your task.
Martin adjusts his glasses.
So, the task. Nashville base stopped transmitting and receiving signals yesterday evening. A reconnaissance group was sent out earlier today, but we haven't heard anything from them yet either.
The chief officer rubs his forehead.
Normally, I would never give this task to a newcomer like yourself, but I just don't have enough people.
He looks down at the documents again.
Furthermore, the group was lacking someone with your specialization. I decided that a visit to an established base like Nashville didn't require an armed escort. That may have been a big mistake.
Kingsley is looking into the camera once more.
Your task is to get to Nashville, figure out whatever's behind the communication problem, get in touch with the group, and work with them to solve the problem.
The chief officer carefully returns the documents to the folder. You notice his hands tremble slightly.
Go downstairs. The truck must be waiting for you in storage. This task is urgent, but a small delay is acceptable if there's anything you need to settle here first. That is all. Any questions?
Kingsley's hand reaches toward the camera.
Great to hear. Take care of yourself. I'll talk to you later.
Glad to meet you. Have a good one.
I'm all ears. Have a good one.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
It was nice chatting.
Don't stop fiddling with the lock.
Attention, attention.
Not now.
Handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Not now.
Not now.
Well?
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
Get out.
Wow, look what the wind blew in. Come back.
The highway leading to C-12 Nashville is blocked by an anomalous storm, and you're forced to detour over a mountain pass. Soon, the radiator boils over, and you have to stop. Clara lifts up the hood and thoroughly examines the steaming radiator.
The engine's boiling, so we'll have to wait. You do know what happens when a car boils, right? It's...
The Blue shuts her mouth abruptly and stares anxiously at the dark funnel cloud dancing on the horizon. Now that you're on higher ground, it's clear that the storm has overtaken a fairly large section of road. It will be difficult to pass. The Blue looks at the engine again.
We wait. As soon as it cools down, we'll go. This storm worries me more, but it's not an insurmountable problem. I heard there are some relics at the local gas station that protect against anomalies. You could even accidentally step on one out here, they say. Mysterious are the ways of the Lord.
Morgan thinks for a moment.
It's a combination cafe gas station called Roadside Picnic. Never been there myself, but there's something off about it. There are several anomalies around there and weird relics. Supposedly, machines and structures decay much faster than they should in that area. But maybe that's just a story.
Your companion perks up a bit. She seems to be interested in this subject.
This place is registered as a resource anomaly zone. Do you know what that is? It's when the relics mined there have been studied and deemed useful. Not much is known about these relics. They dampen anomaly fields, even very strong ones. They're also found in other parts of the dome. They're known as bronze apples or aluminum apples.
I don't remember, but something like that.
The Blue looks at the storm once more.
There have been more and more of these lately, and they're getting stronger. I personally think it's divine judgment for how we've squandered the riches under the dome.
She sighs and squirms.
I knew people who got caught in one of those storms. They blow up so fast, there's no chance to get away. God rest their souls.
The Blue makes the sign of the cross.
Who the hell goes there? Come on in, since you're already here.
A weird, scruffy old man with a matted beard is sitting in front of the checkout terminal. The badge on his blue jumpsuit is long since bleached away. The name Aaron Melville is written there in black marker. With a groan, he picks up a magnifying glass and, peering through it, begins poking at the keyboard with one knobby finger. The computer plays a short tune. Checkmate, the system declares. The old man angrily sets the magnifying glass aside.
A Grandmaster? You're a piece of junk, not a Grandmaster. And a cheater to boot.
He raises his head to squint in your direction.
Hey, what do you want? I don't advise eating here, and there's nothing to buy. And either way, we're closed.
The shopkeeper rises from his seat, and you notice he's sporting a peg where his left leg should be. The old man throws up his hands with a scowl.
Oh, then go fix it. How should I know? They came in and sat down. Ask them yourself.
The old man grumbles. Melville reluctantly points a crooked finger at the front door.
Go out there and walk over to the gas station. Go down to the basement. There's an anomaly, a tree. It's glowing. And there are some golden thingies hanging off it. We make special devices from that fruit called anomaly protectors. Should one be laying around on the floor, go grab it, then put it in the truck and bug off to... where was it you was going to? That's where you bug off to.
The Blue starts slapping the pockets on his overalls. After a little digging, he pulls out a little key on a shoelace.
Only take the device, you hear? It's company property. I should be charging you myself, as a matter of fact.
Oh, good day. See ya. Why should we depend on rational knowledge? Reason leads us up a blind alley over and over again. There are only two true paths to knowledge. Mystical epiphanies and Howdy.
I hope to see you again soon.